Hello, and thanks for coming to the Hip Mindful Mobility. So mindful mobility is all about just a targeted muscle group flow. So today is going to be all surrounded by your hips. A couple reasons why you might want to come to a mindful mobility video is whether you know you have tight hips and you want to spend a little extra time on that, or if you maybe just did a glute or hip workout and you need to loosen up afterwards. So what we're gonna do is get started in your all fours position first and just move around the spine and the hips just a little bit. So I want you to start flowing through cat-cow. Exhale, round up. Inhale, open the chest, drop the belly down. We're gonna do kind of a mix of active stretching where the muscles engaged, and then relaxed passive stretching. So what I'm going to have you do first is kind of walk your fingertips towards the left a little bit so you can sweep that right foot forward. If it doesn't quite get up there, just move it up just a little bit further. So our active hip flexor and hamstring stretch, I want you to first come up to your knee. If you need a little extra cushion, maybe slide a towel or a little blanket underneath the knee if you need a little extra cushion under there. So I want you to find that stability and balance, and that might be your toes wrapped under or top of your foot down, but as long as you're kind of pressing into the ground with that. Engage the core by exhale, drawing in and squeeze the glute. What that does is rotate your pelvis to make sure you feel that work or that stretch, that release in the front part of your hip crease. So that's your general term, just hip flexor. We're trying to release there. As you tuck under, engaging, you slightly press forward. Hopefully you start feeling that deep into the kind of hip and torso, the pelvis. Good. To take that just a little step further if you would like, I like to put the right hand on the right leg and reach the left arm up and over. If you need to find a little movement, open and close a little bit, feel the difference when you arch and you tuck. Keep pressing that back foot into the ground. You can also imagine as if that knee wants to go forward, like it wants to slide forward. That'll engage those muscles as well. Okay, let's take it to your active hamstring. So now more of your weight is on that back knee. Walk the foot forward and flex the foot. So from here, I want you to start to little micro bend of the knee. Press that heel into the ground. So you're stabilizing and engaging the calf and hamstring. Start to tip forward. We might not have to get very far forward to start to feel the back of the leg. Feeling that work while you're pressing down, that active stretch. We're going to go into a little bit more of a passive flow next. So I want you to bend the knee, walk the fingertips forward. I want you to still get that hip flexor sensation, not just by dropping as low as you can, but tucking the tailbone from the glutes and the core, from before you even lower into that lunge. Being aware of what your muscles are doing to support that stretch. Then walk the fingertips back, stretch the hamstring, rounding if that feels good, forward and back, forward. So first just flowing, finding a little movement. And then we're gonna hold each of them. So let's bring it forward into that low lunge. Left toes can be wrapped under or top of your foot down. We're going to sink a little lower into this lunge, but I want you to focus on that engagement of the glute and the core. Maybe slowly lower down a little bit more. Maybe elbows come to the ground, maybe not. Definitely get some sensation in the right hip and hamstring as well here. If you are down on the elbows, come back up to the hands, and we're going to shift back, finding that rounded or passive hamstring stretch. So I do still want the toes to be pulled back. You can round the hands and the inside of the foot, or kind of straddling or squaring that foot. Even though we're rounding the spine forward and relaxing the hamstring, I still want you to think a little bit about drawing the sit bones or tailbones to point backwards. You might be relaxing the hamstring, but engaging kind of the back muscles to pull those hips back. Feels good to round any further down, feel free. If your knees bend a little bit just to be able to touch the ground, that is totally fine, as long as you're getting that sensation in the hamstring. And release that deep stretch, walk both hands on the inside and sweep that leg around. Just sitting back, maybe in a little child's pose, active child's pose. We're gonna go into our pigeon. So I want you to take it into down dog first. So separate those fingertips wide, press into the mat, hips lift. Hopefully you feel the difference between your left hamstring right now and your right. Hopefully you feel a little looser in that right side. We're gonna take the right foot high up to the sky, maybe open up the front of that hip so heel kicks to the left. And then we sweep through, find that pigeon, finding your right ankle to that left hand, right knee towards that right wrist. First, that active posture again. So I want you to think about sitting tall and press the right shin, the right knee kind of into the ground, lifting you up. Core drawn in, glutes engaged. You can definitely use your hands as support. Flexing the right foot, protecting the knee by engaging some muscles. If you can, let go of the ground with the hands. Make that hip hold you up. Keep that active work as we start to lean forward. Keep pressing into the ground. And then let's do a few cycles of breath relaxed, maybe onto the elbows, relaxing the hip muscle a little bit more. We'll come back up to the hands and flip the left toes under. Press into the hands and those left toes to lift yourself off that right hip. And just walk out the heels again, moving that joint around. And then coming back down to all fours position to go right into the other side. So slide that left foot forward. Remember that tall active position first. We get the right hip flexor now. So as we're standing here, body weight's over that back knee. Stabilize, your foot might be up or down. Then tucking the tailbone, squeeze the glutes. Slightly gently press that hip forward. Feeling different angles of the pelvis, tucked or tilted, pressed forward or back. So many angles in that hip flexor. Remember, like we're trying to get that knee, that right knee wants to slide forward. At least those muscles are active to do that. Another way you can think of it is like your right knee is trying to get to your left heel. Both of them engage. Let's take that reach. So left hand on the left knee and up and over reach. Take it into our active hamstring. So more of the weight is back on that right leg, and extend the left leg, bringing it into a flexed position. Little bend in that knee, and then press the heel into the ground. Straightening out the spine so we're not feeling rounded. We might feel that stretch already standing upright. If you can, if you want, you can tip forward just a little bit, thinking point those sit bones back. Remember drawing the core in, knowing where your pelvis is. Get to lower down to a movement flow now. So bending that knee a bit and coming into your low lunge. We're gonna flow back and forth between our low lunge and our half split. Again, still being aware of where that pelvis is in space. Tucking the tailbone a little bit, feeling a deeper hip flexor, and then tilting the tailbone, trying to engage that hamstring or release that hamstring a little bit more. So in a low lunge, we might want to be focusing on tucking the tailbone underneath. And in a half split or hamstring, you might want to think about tilting the tailbone up. We're going to find a hold in that low lunge, so stay forward next time you're there. Engage the core and the glutes and settle in, maybe finding your way to your elbows as low as you'd like to go. Definitely might get to start sensations in the left leg, left hamstring, that's just fine. We're going to make our way back into our rounded hamstrings, so bending back into that half split. Both hands can be on the inside of the leg or maybe framing that leg. Still flexing the foot, relaxing the leg, but then engaging the low back to still try to pull that sit bone back. Maybe round, lower down. Our final one here on this side is that pigeon. So forward and sweep that left leg around. Maybe pause in that child's pose and then set yourself up for down dog. So lifting the hips high, hopefully feeling both legs loose now. And we take our left foot lifted high, open up to that hip flexor for a moment. So heel towards the right, square the shoulders, engage the glute, and then sweep it through. So knee to the left wrist, ankle to the right wrist, and then let's start with our active stretch first. So engaging the core and then pressing that left knee in, left shin into the mat. Definitely be aware of what's happening in the right leg as well. Draw the core in. Remembering that left foot is flexed, so we protect the knee by engaging some muscles. Maybe you can release the hands, still feel that stretch, holding yourself up. And as you start to walk the fingertips forward, still stay active in that left leg. Slowly make your way down wherever you want to land. And then maybe just try to relax that leg, that hip a little bit more. Take the weight back up to the hands and flip those right toes under. Press into the hands and that right foot to lift yourself off that left thigh. And walk those heels out a little bit. Let's find a good down dog before we leave today. So palms pressed into the mat, engaging the hands a little bit and press into the shoulders. Engage the core, drawing the rib cage in and tilting that tailbone up. The knees might be bent and the heels might be lifted, and that's fine. As you exhale, I want you to let those heels drop towards the ground, maybe straightening the legs. Inhale, lift up to the tiptoes, and exhale, let them drop again. Drop down to the knees. And thank you all so much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed your hip stretch and hope you feel a little looser. Thanks.